Jake Paul Mike Tyson happens around a month ago. The Sun says, I want something like this. I want to do something like this. I want something big. They're doing it in Saudi Arabia. They're doing it all over the place. I want something big in India. On Saturday, at the post-fight press conference in Tampa, Dana White alluded to the fact that he had something in the works, something big up his sleeve for 2025.
I have no issue with this fight for a few reasons. Number one, obviously, I don't think he's ready to be back in the UFC. I think he will get his ass kicked thoroughly.
Long before the problematic child entered the discussion, Conor McGregor had stirred things up by implying a fight with Logan Paul. The Irish fighter said he was already in talks with the Ambani family to set up a match with the elder Paul sibling, and I have agreed. Before making his comeback to the octagon, McGregor famously wrote, indicating his intention to enter the boxing ring. However, detractors, including AKA's Javier Mendez, questioned McGregor's opponent selection, arguing that he had made a mistake. Paul, it appears that a mistake has now been fixed. Logan Paul has not yet achieved the same kind of recognition in the martial arts community as his younger brother, but that doesn't mean he is unfamiliar with fighting. In fact, his most recent boxing match was in 2023 against Conor McGregor's partner Dylan Dennis. The victory, however, generated controversy because it resulted in disqualification. His younger brother appeared to be preparing for a pivotal moment against a former UFC double champion when he suddenly snatched the attention and the sought fight for himself.
Jake Paul. Who gives a bollocks?
Nobody gives a bollocks.
No one gives a fuck about him.
Nobody gives a fuck about that lad.
I hope he rattles that little dope.
I hope Tyson fucking cracks that lad.
How was that even in the fucking Dallas Stadium?
How the fuck did they even get a stadium?
This is Mike Tyson Kush, yes?
This is Tyson Weed. Tyson Weed.
There's no one doing it like me. Nobody.
I'm still the fucking king of this shit, right? I'm the king of this shit, right?
According to Salvador Rodriguez, a well-known ESPN reporter, the fight reporter posted images of the problematic youngster and the Mystic Mac and cited sources. A fresh piece of the puzzle seems to have fallen into place, adding clarity to the timing. Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor is scheduled for July, August, or September 2025 in India. McGregor has only sent 3 letters regarding the fight, stating that TKO. It all makes sense now that Dana White had implied that Conor McGregor will probably return to the octagon in late 2025. A fight versus Paul in India will take up McGregor's schedule, but here's a twist you might not be aware of. Curious? Let's go in. Jake Paul once unleashed his rage on McGregor for choosing to fight his older brother instead.
Boxing Media Hub here, just a quick one, just come in. Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul, reportedly on the table for between July to September in India next year. Jake Paul and not Logan. Let me know your thoughts.
Following the initial teaser regarding a bout between Logan Paul and McGregor, Jake Paul took to X and quoted, "Now it all makes sense why Conor McGregor and his management team have been desperately trying to get MVP to negotiate for a fight between us, as we told them privately, and I'm now saying it publicly. The only way we're willing to explore me versus Conor in a pro boxing MMA fight is if Dana White UFC are at the table directly, or make it clear they are okay with discussions." When it came to criticizing McGregor, the YouTuber turned professional fighter didn't back down. He continued, "Conor is washed, the pause are needed. Logan by however he wants. However, it appears that the younger Paul desired the Notorious exclusively for himself. Obviously it would be fascinating to observe what takes place in the ring when it comes to the Dubliner's UFC comeback. It seems he won't keep us in suspense for long, with just 2 bouts remaining on his UFC contract. Fans can anticipate Mystic Mac aiming to close the chapter by 21-25. Conor McGregor is once again in the public eye, but this time it's in a boxing ring as opposed to an MMA cage. When the Irish legend announced that he would now be facing Logan Paul in India, fans all over the world were shocked. As rumors of a possible showdown with Jake Paul grow, whispers of an even bigger surprise are causing waves.
Could this be one of the biggest fights we could ever see? Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul is reportedly on the table for July-September time in India. This fight could be one of the biggest and best build-ups, best fights in terms of entertainment ever Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul as a boxing match? No. They're not great boxers. But as a build-up and entertainment, this could be amazing. Conor McGregor, Jake Paul, very similar personalities, and I think they'll clash well. But the thing is, the reason why this fight wouldn't happen is because Conor McGregor is contracted to the UFC for another 2 more fights. Unless that's why they're going to India and it's going to be like an exhibition, not a pro fight. Because obviously, because of the UFC clause. But I've seen Logan Paul, Conor McGregor. Man, it would be crazy if this fight did happen. And over in India.
Conor McGregor, who is already 30 years old, may soon return to the boxing ring for the first time since his well-publicized fight with Floyd Mayweather in 2017. But if his next opponent is the self-described problem child, does that imply that he ignored Logan Paul? Ultimately, money is everything. And even at the age of 27, Jake Paul is still one of the most talked about figures in the boxing world. By exposing new reports of a possible bout between McGregor and Paul, Happy Punch sparked excitement in the boxing world. According to their claim, the match is planned for the 3rd quarter of 2025, with India confirmed as the host country. According to reports, Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul is now scheduled for July-September in India. However, does this mean that the fight with Logan Paul is over? And what about Mystic Max's long-awaited return to the octagon? Fans jumped right into the debate, flooding the comment sections with unfiltered thoughts on the raging rumors of a battle between Paul and McGregor. One fan said McGregor needed money. Conor must be in need of cash. One commenter stated that they will continue to watch the McGregor versus Paul battle, calling it a money fight, and suggested that the UFC star might have accepted the match because his business has suffered since the Nikita hand scandal. Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul will be very profitable, according to Heist. If Netflix acquires the rights to McGregor versus Paul, it could smash multiple audience records, but we will all be watching it on Netflix.
Conor McGregor, if you can ever get your house back in order while us real professionals have been keeping the octagon warm, we're wondering where you've been, Conor. Come back and beat me, if you can. Do you have any more questions, Joe?
I do not, sir. That was an awesome fight. Thank you very much. Thank you. My chairman, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't think Conor would ever fight again, and I don't blame him for it, but boxing this guy is really kind of pointless, isn't it? The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight was streamed on the streaming service. Someone thought the fight would be a snooze fest. In contrast, Paul has turned into a TKO artist in his previous fights, despite the fact that it took sides. McGregor last fought more than 3 years ago, and his most recent victory came against Donald Cerrone in 2020. In contrast to McGregor, who only fought once and has a yo-1, a comment raised concerns about the fight. It read, 7 to 10 months for this garbage. It's just going to be so much hype that the fight won't nearly live up to the hype. If there's nothing else on, I'll watch it, but I won't pay for it. But if there's even a new episode of Bob's Burgers, I won't be tuning in.
Last couple of days, we've been talking about this Logan Paul, Conor McGregor story, and my phone continues to blow up. Fielding a lot of phone calls, talking to a lot of sources, talking to a lot of people, and that is the initial tweet that kind of, kicked all this off, right? That tweet right there, the rumors of a bout with Notorious are false. There were no real rumors, let's be honest. I'm in preliminary agreements with the Ambani family to face Logan Paul in a boxing exhibition in India. I have agreed. I will then seek my return to the octagon. So this was on December 17th, 2 days ago, and that's what really sparked everything. And then I've been talking to a lot of people, and so right after that, when we did the show on Tuesday, I said there is validity, right? There is a thing here. Save that tweet if we can. Save that tweet. There is validity. There is validity to this story. This is a real thing, and it's not just, Conor chatting shit, as the kids like to say. And I've continued to look into it, and I've continued to talk to people. And now I feel compelled.
It was a wise decision because Paul has been more engaged in the boxing community and has an 11-1 record. Lastly, a fan mentioned McGregor's multiple legal troubles, writing that the lawyer's bills must be mounting and that he couldn't be any more sluggish. This fan stated that no one is paying to watch Jake Paul box again, not even with Conor, and that everyone is just going to wait for the highlights the following day. Hopefully, they are not doing this for the money because it isn't there as he prepares to return to the octagon. This is in addition to the Nikita Hand case that Makary and his ex-friend Artem Lobov are suing each other over the proper 12 whiskey invention. Following his announcement of his impending battle with Logan, McGregor revealed on X that he had reached an initial agreement with the Ambani family to compete against Logan in an exhibition boxing event scheduled for India next year. Given that the UFC and WWE are owned by the same parent company, a number of well-known MMA figures, like Michael Bisping and Ariel Helwani, offered their thoughts and conjectured that the boxing match would be possible. Michael Chandler has once again called out the infamous for a possible showdown, suggesting that he is committed to taking on Conor McGregor. After reposting McGregor's message, Chandler asked the former champion to fight him, saying, "Just step up." You can call it whatever you want. After multiple postponements and a cancelled bout with McGregor, the Notorious MMA finally faced Charles Oliva in a rematch at UFC 309 last month, losing by unanimous decision after Chandler challenged McGregor in his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan. Interview 5. In a recent episode of the Ariel Helwani show, an MMA insider revealed an intriguing connection between Jake Paul and the rumored fight. The seasoned journalist revealed that the WWE superstar was not the Ambani's top choice to challenge the Notorious. According to reports, Indian tycoon Mukesh Ambani had originally hoped for the problem child to face the UFC champion. Helwani shared his understanding that the first choices are Jake Paul, we want to be in the Jake Paul business, and we want Jake Paul to fight here in India. Therefore, the top choice was Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor, which was the brilliant idea. The problem child's boxing accomplishments have surpassed his brothers. He added, "This is not me trying to take a shot at Logan or anyone else." Recently,
saying this is what we want. I think everyone will agree that we want Conor McGregor to, if he fights again, if he decides to fight again. Someone's texting me now about this. This is all,
wow,
it's all happening.
Real time. In real time, we're getting updates. Should I book a flight to India? We'll see on the back end.
Okay, so it is, we all want Conor to fight in MMA if he fights again, right?
Yes,
we all agree.
that's right.
Okay. Got that out of the way. So let's talk about what I know as of right now on this Thursday afternoon. This family, the Ambani family, which I went through the stats, right? I went through the stats, courtesy GC got them for me very quickly. I will be honest, and perhaps it's shame on me, wasn't so familiar. Now, after doing some digging, probably we should have been very familiar because they're one of the most powerful and richest families in the world.
Jake has developed into a more skilled boxer than Logan, who most recently faced Dylan Dennis. I talked to Logan, and he confirmed that the Maverick's 1-12 boxing record, which includes both professional and exhibition fights, is accurate. Jake, on the other hand, has an 11-1 professional boxing record and has defeated multiple former UFC legends, including Anderson Silva. His 2021 fight with Floyd Mayweather ended in a draw, and his victory over Dylan Dennis last year drew criticism for what was seen as a lack of action in the ring. Perry, Mike Nate Diaz, and Tyrone Woodley. Most recently, he defeated the renowned Mike Tyson via unanimous decision. Conor McGregor's final fight occurred in 2021, which coincided with his prolonged departure from the ring and more than 3 years of inactivity. Due to serious legal issues, the Irish fighter has been forced to distance himself from his heyday. Josh Thompson, a former UFC fighter, is adamant that McGregor will face all of these factors in a possible. When Thompson discussed his thoughts on the matchup with Paul on the Weighing In podcast, he implied that he would favor Logan because of Conor's lack of activity and other problems outside the ring. He clarified that this wasn't because Logan was a better boxer, but rather because he questioned the level of commitment that someone with a $400 million net worth could be expected to exhibit. Following a decision loss in November, Michael Chandler refocused his ambitions on pursuing the title of MMA's biggest star. The three-time former Bellator lightweight champion was originally scheduled to face Conor McGregor in February 2023, but nearly 2 years later, they have yet to meet in the UFC octagon. He entered the octagon for an interim bout against Charles Oliva at UFC 309. Now, Michael Chandler has addressed McGregor's desire to face someone else. On X, Formerly known as Twitter, McGregor shocked everyone on Tuesday by declaring that he was in preliminary agreements for his comeback bout. Although there has been no official confirmation, the former UFC multiple weight champion revealed plans to compete in a boxing exhibition versus Logan Paul